And then from Ohio, Jim Jordan is the congressman with the highest rating, at least from Heritage Action. He's at 93% on Heritage Action and 81% on FreedomWorks. So there's a distinct difference between those that are Main Street Partnership versus some of the ones that we know to be conservative. Okay, so now we want to go into Dave Joyce's voting record. Now, 2 years ago, when he was running for Congress, at the Lake County Tea Party, there was a candidate forum in which he was there with his opponent, I believe it was Dale Blanchard. Anybody was there? Who was there at that meeting? Okay. Did he sound like a conservative?
Well, at the time he talked a good game.
He did. He did. He did. He talked a very good game. Let's see what the voting record looks like. There was an amendment proposed for the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund, H.R. 152. This was in January of 2013, so it was just after he'd gone into office. There was an amendment proposed that would offset a large portion of the emergency spending by making a slight across-the-board reduction in discretionary spending, so kind of offsetting that expense. Voting no against that were Dave Joyce, Jim Renacci, and Michael Turner. And when you see the names in bold, those are members of Main Street Partnership. So all three of them voted no. Voting yes for the amendment were, these are the other Republican congressmen from Ohio, including Jim Jordan, Steve Chabot, Brad Wenstrup, so forth. And there are actually three Main Street Partnership congressmen who voted for that amendment. The bill ended up failing, and voting no on it were 187 Democrats and Dave Joyce, Jim Renacci, Michael Turner, and 68 other Republicans. Voting yes for the amendment, which would have reduced our spending overall, were a mere 5 Democrats and 157 Republicans. We move into March of 2013, and the RSC, which is the Republican Study Committee, their Back to Basics budget was proposed. And probably the most important part about that budget is that it would have balanced the budget in a mere 4 years. Anybody think that's a bad idea? It had some serious entitlement reform. It included the Ryan Premium Support Plan for those under 60 for Medicare, and slowly increased the Medicare eligibility age to 70 years, and empowered states to determine Medicare eligibility and benefits. So there were a number of proposals there that would have been good. Voting no were Dave Joyce and a number of other Republicans from Ohio, including a lot of Main Street Partnership folks. Voting yes were just 3 Ohio Republican congressmen. The bill failed 104 to 132. A lot of representatives actually did not vote on this bill. And in June of 2013, there was a farm bill. Now, a lot of times the names of these bills really are very deceiving. And this really should be called the food stamp bill, because 80% of it deals with food stamps and 20% of it deals with farms in terms of the money. Because food stamps account for 80% of the bill's nearly $1 trillion in projected spending. And the bill is a combination of agricultural policy and welfare. Now, who are the recipients of this government largesse? Well, direct corporate welfare for insurance companies, farm corporations, and special carve-outs and price supports for specific industries with the best lobbyists. So the best lobbyists get our money. Is there something wrong with that? So who would have voted for that? Surprisingly enough, Dave Joyce's name appears again, along with 5 other Main Street Partnership Republicans. Voting no is this same trio that shows up a number of times. The bill failed, 195 to 234. Voting against the bill were 172 Democrats and 62 Republicans. Now, and voting for it were 171 Republicans and only 24 Democrats. So, do you think there's some lobbying going on this one? I think that good possibility of that. Then there was an alternative energy amendment. Anybody ever hear of any failed green energy companies supported by our government? Oh, maybe you have. I kind of thought maybe you had. Well, this amendment would have cut out $1.5 billion from various research and development programs for alternative energy, which is sometimes these dollars for alternative energy can be confused with giving money to Obama's supporters. So the perspective of the person offering the bill is that the free market can take care of developing new energies and energy sources, and we don't need to have the government picking winners and losers in this venture. And in particular, the only ones that win are the ones who get the money because their companies end up folding and they don't accomplish anything anyway, other than walking away with their money. Now, perhaps you're not surprised that Dave Joyce was opposed to this amendment, which would have precluded that money going to green energy development. There were a number of others. There were 5 of the Main Street Partnership folks there. The bill failed, 115 to 300. Voting no on it were all 191 Democrats that voted, plus Dave Joyce, Jim Renacci, Michael Turner, and a number of other Republicans. Voting yes to cut that from the alternative energy were 0 Democrats and 115 Republicans who stood up for us. We didn't have enough Republicans to stand up for us there. Then the NSA amendment. Anybody ever hear of the NSA? They've heard of you. Okay, this amendment protects a basic 4th Amendment right by requiring that the NSA can only gather electronic data from people who are actively under an investigation with approval from the FISA court. So this is basic due process under the law, that you need a specific warrant to search and seize an individual's physical property. The same should apply to that individual's communications and digital property. So the amendment sounds like a good thing. A number of congressmen from Ohio didn't think it was. Dave Joyce